Today we've got a project that I'm going to do on an Area 51 motherboard. There's this little, it's an LS14 surface mount chip right by the gun inputs that every so often the trigger won't work anymore. The gun's usually okay, the wiring's fine back to the motherboard, but it's one or a couple of inputs on this little surface mount chip. It's only 14 pins. I've had to replace them time and time again over the years. So today I'm going to retrofit this board with a regular hole-through chip. I'm going to use just a little experimenter's board here to mount it, and use some pre-cut circuit board wiring to wire it in place. A little over a year ago, I came up with this diagram here that shows from the gun inputs to the LS14 back over to the next chip that it goes to. I'll put this up on the video so you can get a closer look of how the routing goes. First thing we're going to do is remove this LS14 chip and then mount our little experimenter's board here, and start following this diagram and wiring everything in place. So stay tuned. Here's a closer look at what this LS14 chip looks like. You can tell it's been replaced a few times and maybe the pads have been damaged a little bit. Okay, I think I've got my iron heated up here. Gonna take my desoldering wick here and start pulling this old chip here. It looks like this pad over here is damaged. That's on, looks like it's pin 9. I'm going to leave this little jumper wire here in place. This along there and soak up the solder. I've always wanted to try doing this project. I did a version of it a couple of years ago, and it's worked out fine. I haven't had to replace the chip yet. But all I did was make a little harness and have the chip kind of off to the side. I've never tried this breadboard idea. Let's see if I can get in here. There we go. Even after you soak up all this solder, there's always a little bit underneath that's really hard to get off. Let's see here. Just get under that a little bit. Okay, got one side there. Get the other side going here. This is a 14-pin chip, but Only 10 pins are being used. Okay, we got our little LS14 off there. Looks pretty messy, so I'm gonna, oops. Looks like my little jumper came off anyhow. I'm gonna clean this up with some more wick. This will help remove some of the rosin that's on the board without using a chemical cleaner. Okay. Right, there's another little pad there that's loose. Let's see, according to my diagram here, pins 1, 2, 8, and 9 are unused. Pin 7 is ground, and, well, pin 14's +5. Okay. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. So on this experimenter's board here, it's got these buses on either side for +5 and ground. We're not going to use those, we're just going to use this middle part, so I'm going to go ahead and pull these off here. My little X-Acto knife here. One side. This has a sticky back on it, so we can stick it to the board on the side here. I'm going to clean that off a little bit so it'll stick better. It'd be interesting to hear if anybody else has ever tried doing anything like this. I think this will be okay here. It got a little bit up in the hard drive connector. This hard drive cable should go right over where my new chip's going to go. So we're going to place this right down inside here. Hard drive connector, the gun cables will come in here. And I think there should be room to kind of route my wires around over to the chip here. So the only drawback to doing this mounted off the board is if you ever have to pull the board off. You're stuck with having to disconnect these little wires here. But I think I'm going to try it and see how well it works. I could mount this somewhere on the board, but I hate to have this stuck like way over here to the side and longer wires. There is a place here where I could do that. Let's see. Where's one of my wires? Actually, it might reach okay. I might go ahead and do it over here. So we've got our LS14 chip here. That'll go right there. Let's see. this on one end here. Okay. Go. That's either gonna lay there or here. I'd like to have the orientation of the chip the same direction as I'm working on, but it looks like I'm gonna have to flip it where it's just a slightly different orientation. I think it'll be okay. Alright, so we're gonna take this pin by pin. I've got damage on, oh yeah, let's see, pin 9. That one is unused. Yeah, that's correct. And then pin 13's got some damage there. That's the gun input. Ground. Trigger. Okay. Let's see here. I think I'm going to go ahead. I can get this to lay down right on the pad. See like that. I should reach over there. Okay, I think I'll be okay. Let me get some trimmers here. Needle nose. Cutters. Actually, I'm going to move the camera over a little bit. Well, I think that's okay like that. We'll see how well this sticks here. I got all of this stuff, the little experimenter's board, the wire and the chip from Fry's Electronics. The chip was only maybe 70 cents. Let's see, so I've got pin 1 here, 2, 3. Oh, interesting, I could do that. I wonder. So that's the output. Two, 3. Okay, all right. Pin 3 is the trigger input for gun 2. I'm gonna feed this in. Sorry if my hands are in the way. Into this little. Okay. Got that wire seated there. So that's the input for gun 2, which is pin 2 on this little 4-pin connector. Red, white, black, blue. I'm going to get my meter out and make sure I have continuity, so I know I have my diagram drawn up, but I want to make sure I'm hooking to the right place here. I don't want to go back and do this over again. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so pin 3 here. should go to, wait. Okay. Oh yeah, that's how I have it drawn on the diagram. So it's right there. It's that white. I'm wondering, that won't gauge. Okay, I'm going to trim this. These wires are pre-stripped, so I'm going to trim it back just a little bit because it's kind of long. I'm going to pre-ten it. So I don't have to be handling the solder when I'm attaching it. Come on. Okay. Just want a little bit. Shake that off. Let me go in and lay it right down. Pin 3 there. I think I'm going to have to put a little bit of solder on the pad. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That is attached. 1 down, 9 to go. And that's still firm there. Alright. So what's next? Pin 4 goes to the second pin over on this chip on this side. So another piece of wire. If this actually works, I'll be making life a lot easier for the next person to come along and work on this board. Okay. Go in here. 4. Okay, all right. Trim this back. Tin it up a little bit. Okay. That'll reach. Okay. Pin 4's on there pretty good. Let's see. 5 is the gun 2 gun input. So that'd be the sensor input. Over here to pin 5. That will not reach there. Okay, I can go in a little bit more here. It's a trick getting these wires to be an okay length where they're not too long. And that trimmed. Three, four, three, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like this uses 4 gates out of this chip. The other side I might go okay, 5 is good. The other side of the LS14 here, I might go directly to this chip and directly to the inputs here, so it's not so messy on the pad. Okay, 6. Yeah, 6 goes over here to this side of this chip. That's going to be the output of the gun input, or the optical sensor input. And then the last pin in the row is going to be my ground. So let's see, ground. I'll have to check continuity on that. A little. that's attached. Just for safe measure, I'm going to go and do a continuity check from the chip over to where I'm supposed to be here. So it was pin 3 should go over here to this input. Okay, that's good. Pin 4. So pin 4 goes to here. Okay. Pin 4 should go right here. Yay. Pin 5 should go here. Wait, no, here. Yeah. Pin 6 should go this side of the chip. Okay, good, good. Now let's do the ground. This is pretty simple to do. It's just detailed work mechanically, getting everything to work and fit. And there may be a better way of doing it. This is just what I'm doing for this project here. Now I wonder, there's a ground lug test point here. I don't think I have to go to that pin on the chip. I think I could go, let's see, this is supposed to be ground. I've got a capacitor over here that's grounded. There's another ground lug back here, so I think I'm going to take this wire somewhere else and not solder directly to that pad. Catch my ground from another point on the board. All right, so I've wrapped it around the ground leg of that capacitor, and I'm just going to throw some solder on there. Hopefully I don't have to go back and replace this capacitor when I'm done. I doubt that, though. There we go. All right, next side of the chip. Let's see, 8 and 9 are unused. So I've got to go from pin 10 over to this back side of the chip here. I've already got these wires in the way. So it'd be hard to solder the other side of the chip. So I think I'm going to go from pin 10 directly to this side of this surface mount chip here. Let's see, so now I have to count. 7, 8, 9, 10, it's the third one. Okay. All right. Let this go out to this side here. It looks like it's the second one over. I'm going to check continuity on that, how it exists right now, just to double check. So I'm on the correct pin there. That should be pin 10 here. Okay, so that is my target pin right there. I think I'm going to go this way here. I did this before a couple of years ago directly to this chip because these pads were wasted. Clean the tip on my iron. So I'm going to pre-tin everything. Okay. I actually got the solder end bridged across 2 pins there, so I'm just going to go and clean it up with my wick. That looks good. There's still a little bit of solder left on there. Now I'll go back and make sure there's nothing shorted or bridged there when I'm done. Luckily these pins are big enough on this surface mount chip. It makes it easier to solder to. There's no hole through on here in this area, so I can't solder to anything that's hole through. But I don't think there's enough solder. I'm going to put a little on my tip and just brush it on there. A teeny bit. This is where things get real tedious with stuff like this. Got that bridged a little bit again. Alright, so I got pin 10 here attached. Now I'm doing 11, which goes to the trigger switch from gun number 1. Check my continuity, make sure. Let's see, 11 should be here. It should be that pin. Yep, okay. So I've got my wire already in 11 here. I'm just going to take this over. I'm going to wrap it around. This pin here. Wrap it around and get it to snug down to the bottom of the header there. Make sure I'm not shorting anything. I'll come back and I'll trim off that excess later. A little bit of solder on there. Okay, we should be good. Okay. All right. Now, pin 12 goes to this side of the chip. So let's do our 12, 13, that's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, should be the 5th pin over. 1, 2, there we go. Continuity right there. So we're going to go from 12 to here. Okay, we'll do the same thing here. Going vertically to solder to that pin. Okay. Pre-tin these. Okay, got a couple of pins bridged together again, but that's okay. That'll do it. Okay, got that one attached. Good, there's no shorts there. Alright, that all looks good there. 2 more, and we're done. Pin that says pin 12. We've got 10 and 11, 10, 11, and 12 done. Now for number 13. Is the input, the optical input here. It should be this pin. Okay, so I'm going to do this where I wrap around the header pin there again. Wire. Let's see, 13. Trying to arrange these where I don't run them into each other, you know, across the wires. This is going to go to pin 4. Oh, okay, that went in nicely. Luckily I have an Area 51 here I can test this out in before taking it back to the location. I do a lot of my repair work at the locations. But something like this I really need kind of a stable area that's well lit to do a good job. I've recapped monitors in locations. Okay, that's good. There's a lot of wires going around here. Alright, so the last wire is my pin 14, my +5. Where is a good place I can get +5 on this pin here? I might go ahead and do that. hunt around with my continuity tester. I could have used one of the circuit boards that has the holes through it and just solder everything on this end, but I figured I'd try this since I've never done it this way before. So there's 14. Got continuity there. Let's see, there's continuity to this positive end on this capacitor here too. I'm thinking I might want to go to this pin here. Here's 5 over here for this connector to the hard drive. Of course, I could go to this pin here, pin 14 on this little surface mount chip. Maybe I'll do that. How well will that reach? It's gonna kind of get in the way of my other wires. It looks like the easiest thing to do is going to be to go to this header pin over here. Kind of wrap that around. Good. Throw a little bit of solder on there. I don't want to get these pins or this header too hot, because it'll melt the plastic and cause the pins to become unsoldered underneath the board. Okay, we're ready to test this out here. I'll give you a closer look at the work here, the camera here. Alright, here's kind of what it looks like here. We've got this attached firmly to the board. So let's plug it in and test it out. Alright, so I'm here at the Area 51 cabinet. This is my board here set on free play. I'm just going to run a couple of games and make sure the guns and wiring is working okay before I plug in the board I repaired. Looks like the gun inputs work. Okay, that seems to sight well enough, so I'm going to open this up, turn the machine off, and then we'll swap this board out. Alright, this has got a really cool little panel that pops out. You can see the other board here, and I've got my little compact flash for my hard drive. So let's see here. I need to get. I'm gonna have to unscrew this. All right. So I have our repaired board here. I'm gonna slide this into my cabinet. Just gonna put a screw in here to lock it down so it doesn't slide down. Okay. I'll attach our JAMA harness. I've got one gun here. That fits nicely. Second gun. Okay, I think power it up from here. This won't be on free play. Voltage reads a little high. Okay, we're up. We've got hard drive activity. Put a couple of credits on the machine. Okay, ready? I could do this in test mode too. Ah, both guns are working well. The sighting's off, of course. Oh, reload. Okay. Yeah. So they're both working well. Let me go into test mode here. Check my tracking. That tracks well. Okay, this monitor is weak, so it doesn't do the best job. Well, I'd say that's a successful fix. I'm going to take this out to the location and put it in, and we'll try it out there. Get this out of here. Oh, shut this off. I'll put up my little drawing with this video, so you can take a look at that. I think next time I might do this a little bit differently. I wish that I had picked out wires that were a little bit longer, just to give me a little more room to kind of situate things. So, anyhow, thanks for joining us here at this old arcade.